we were just talking about you alluded to the meetings and all. And I got, we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you had Mel Brooks, you had Carl Reiner, you had Howie Morris, you had Neil Simon, Woody Allen.
Sure.
Good grief.
Now, these were all people sitting around a room.
Writers, just
sitting in. See, I used to come into the writing room on Monday. The show would be Saturday night. We'd have Sunday off, where I would just stand under a shower and shake.
Really?
Oh, sure.
Just drained, huh?
Oh, yeah. But on Monday we'd come in. We had nothing to start on Monday. Absolutely nothing. But things...
The writers would not have written anything for that week?
Nobody wrote anything until I was there. Yeah.
And who
we were so busy fixing up the show for that week. I mean, we had to polish off the show that we just did.
And how would it start? Would you come in with a premise or two?
No, you come in, you sit down. Well, did anybody go anywhere? Well, see, we had no life. Our social life was 6 days a week. We didn't go anywhere, you know what I mean? We worked from 10 in the morning till 7, 8 at night, sometimes 2, 3 in the morning.
Good night.
So you had to be there, And if we'd ask her, do you know anybody who went anywhere? I'd say, I have a cousin who went to the show. Yeah, what did he do? What did he say? And that's how we'd get our information from the people. If we went out for lunch. I remember one time, we were stuck for a sketch, and I was saying, gee, I wish we could get it. Well, we'll get it after lunch. So I went out to lunch with the fellas. And this restaurant was very, very crowded, and it was just horrible. We had to split up. In fact, we couldn't all sit together. So they put me next to the kitchen with a swinging door. The guy, whoop, hey, come on. One hot roast strawberry coming up even now. You put him over here. Come over here. Put him over there. So I was sitting back there, and I said, boy, the guy who sits here, his life is in danger. And we did a sketch. That week, we went right back. Door? With this guy sitting down, going right over here, the fast lunch we called it. And the guy sat down there, and every time I waited, he would just go like this, and the waiter would open the door. I'll get it out soon. I'll just take this out of my nose. And we just had that...
in live, Sid.
Yes, in live.
I mean, were you terrified at the
beginning? Yes,
at the beginning,
but
knowing you couldn't take it back.
Well, when you're right. But we knew nothing. We didn't know any better. We didn't know that you could stop and, with tape. There was no tape. And the fact that we had no cue cards and no teleprompters. And that was it. You went out there. Now, I want to tell you one thing I just want to go back to the part where I had to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, okay.
I used to say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your shows. Tonight, our host is, and I forgot the name.
Of the host. I saw that show. I remember that.
I forgot the name of the host. And I stood there, I said, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was Basil Rathbone.
Oh, my.
Now, he was, nervous enough.
It was a household word.
Sure. Now, I'm standing there, and he's done all the Sherlock Holmes, right, everything?
Sure.
I'm standing, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your shows. Tonight, our host is a man that you've seen in many Shakespearean plays, a man who is Shakespeare himself once in a while, but a man who knows how to play Shakespeare, and a man who knows Sherlock Holmes intimately because he plays Sherlock Holmes, and he's a man who has hair and a nose and an eye and an ear.
And nobody held up.
Nobody held up.
Nobody helped you.
And I said, here he is, your host for the evening. I didn't even know.
What did he say? What was his reaction?
He went, thank you, Sid. I'm Basil Rathbone. It was a terrible, terrible fright. And after that, I had the name. That's all I had. I said, put up a card with the name of the guest. That's all.
Of course. Now, when you see today's projects of Mel Brooks and Neil Simon and Woody Allen, do you see any ideas that go back, that are throwbacks to those writing sessions? Like what? Give me an example.
Well, there was one thing that Woody used which is fine, which is great, where I was doing a pantomime. And in the pantomime, I was opening a cigarette case for somebody, and then they said, we were listening to a song, very, very chic. It was I'll set it up. It was a parlor, and it was very, very everybody with white tie and tails and everything. And we're sitting, and I was offering somebody a cigarette, and they said, fine, and they snapped the case on my finger. And she's singing, and I got up, and I walked out into the next room, and I went, yeah! And then I came back.
And you saw that in one of his pictures?
Yeah. And Mel had remember in Blazing Saddles where the guy knocks the horse out?
Of course.
I did that.
That was Alex Karras that did it. You did that on the show?
No, I did that in real life.
You knocked the horse out?
I was riding with my wife in Griffith Park, and the horse, when we went past a little stream, and the horse laid down with my wife. I mean, she almost got very seriously hurt. And I was so mad, I jumped off my horse, and I picked up this horse, and I hit him in the mouth. And I broke my hand.
You're a very strong person. I know this about you.
Muscles, the strongest muscle you can have is up here. This is the strongest muscle
indeed.
you can have. This
I
is-
want to ask you. You mentioned your wife, and the thought occurred to me. Here you are. You just described your routine. 6 days a week, Sunday under the shower, shaking. What did it do to your family life
I had
in that period?
there
Because
was
you
a-
were literally married to your job at that
Oh,
point.
sure. But aside from that, the drinking, which was not such a wonderful thing. But my wife was I will say it right now in front of everybody, I would not be sitting here
If it was.
alive if it wasn't for my wife.
That's
and my
beautiful.
family. And I mean that.
How many
That's the
children
truth.
have you said? I never.
Three.
Three.
I have 2 girls and a boy.
When did the alcohol problem and the pill problem begin? Because you were combining the two.
Yes. Well, the alcohol problem started in, I was doing a show called Make My Manhattan on Broadway. And it was a very successful show, and after the performance, I'd take a drink, you know.
Sure.
Sometimes I'd have a drink.
Unwind.
Unwind,
So
you
you
know,
always
take it
use that,
easy.
isn't it?
You got to unwind after a show, right?
Yeah,
Have
sure.
a drink or 2. Then it became 3 or 4, then 9 or 10, then 1 bottle, then let's go into another bottle. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were into it then. Very heavy.
Not that deep, but when I got into television, then I got deeper into drinking. And the
Did you
networks-
drink while you were working?
No, I never drank while I was working. I drank after. After all the work was over, like after the writing was over during the day. We would write from like 10 o'clock in the morning till about 6, 7 o'clock at night, sometimes into the morning. But after the work was over, that's when I drank. That was my pattern.
You talk a lot in the book about your violence while you were under the influence of alcohol. When did that become apparent?
Right away, because my personality changed. I cannot drink. I'm not addicted, but I would say, I'm allergic. I am allergic to alcohol.
Did you become mean when you were there?
Yes, I was a bad drunk.
Isn't it funny? My father did the same thing. He was an absolute
Your
cowboy.
personality changes. You're just you're another person. You just don't think right. And this was destroying me, and I didn't know it. So the network tried to get me off the booze by substituting pills, like chloral hydrate. And I said, that's better. Take the pills with the booze.
The network did this?
Well, they said to get him off the booze, you know, put him on get him onto pills. And I said,
You mean the network?
the network, yeah. They called my doctor. And I said, why not use the both of them? And that was really
Yeah, because it doesn't mix.
that combination is deadly.
How come we never read anything about your booze problem? And
I think
pill
the
problem?
press was very kind to me, and it was the best kept secret in New York.
But you kept a very low profile. I don't ever remember reading anything.
I didn't
much
have
about
time
you.
to go anywhere. Don't you understand?
How did you keep it a secret, though? This business, it's unbelievable, you know.
Well,
If you scratch your ear, they say he's got a bad, he's dying, he's got an ear problem, or anything. Yeah.
well, people were very kind. They were kind. I wish they weren't so kind, but it was never let out. The press was. I was in hospitals many times, and the press never did anything, which I appreciate, but I should have been pulled up short much sooner.
Yeah, we want to continue with Sid Caesar, and we will right after this.
Professor, could you tell me what is the most important single problem in space today?
That's a good question. Well, that's the most important